You doubted me. You doubted me. You laughed in my face. You laughed in my face, and you said there was no. And you're not alone, right? There's many out there that did the same thing. It's like, again, we get counted out. No one thought it was going to happen. There's no way DeAndre Hopkins is going to the Titans, and he signs a 2-year.
No other receiver would. He's just money hungry.
I knew you were going to say that, but then again,
he's just money hungry. He's sold out.
Well, he wanted to play with a good quarterback. Why would he go? Why would he go to Tennessee if he wanted to play with? Like, I'm telling you guys right now, you better watch out. I might be wearing a dress at the end of this season. But I promise you, here and now, the Titans will win this division. They will sweep the Jags. Everyone is gonna be proven wrong, just like they are every time they count out the Titans, and that's where we thrive the most. So there you have it.
Listen, of course Hopkins went to the Titans.
Okay, here we go.
Did you not see Will Levis's girlfriend on the couch at the dress? I mean, if I got to look at that every day, I'd sign up to be the hot dog guy at the stadium.
Episode of Bustin Chops Callin Shots. We jump into some MLB news. Ohtani, where is he going to end up? We talk about that once again. MLB standings. The Orioles and the Rays are neck and neck in their division. We talk about D-Hop going to the Titans at his 2-year, $26 million contract. How's that going to pan out? We talk a lot about running backs and their future in the league. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacob, Tony Pollard, all not getting a long-term deal. We talk about Pat Mahomes staying more motivated than ever for the Super Bowl. And we actually break down our top 10 quarterbacks this preseason going into the NFL season, all on this show.
What's up, our winners? Welcome back to another episode of Bustin Chops Callin Shots. It's Jon and AJ in the chair with you tonight. Josh is out. He is just recovering from a little procedure he had done. So we wish him all well and hope for the best in his quick recovery. Chop, we'd love to have you back as soon as possible, but take your time. In the meantime, it's just us. Jon, welcome back, man. How you been?
I've been doing good. Yes, prayers for Chop with his breast reduction he had. So
I was gonna try and say something it's like, I don't even know, like, it's like
tonsillitis. There was an article. Pat Mahomes wasn't much of a booby man, so Chop is, in his obsession with Pat, is trying to chase him down. So.
He's more of an ass man.
Yeah. Choppy got back, as they say.
I got to give Chop credit, though. Look, I mean, he was hyping up this show on Netflix about these quarterbacks, and we were scrolling through stuff to watch with my wife the other night, and we watched a preview of that, and she was like, "Let's watch that," and I was like, "No, we don't have to," because I felt like she was wanting to do it because she thought maybe I was interested.
Yeah.
She's very selfless like that, and I come in the other night from whatever I was doing, and she's in, I think we're recording a podcast even, and I come in and she's watching the show without me. And I was like, what are you doing?
Oh.
You watching the quarterback show without me? She's like, well, you didn't seem like you were into it. I was like, no, I just didn't want to watch because I thought maybe you were just doing it to be nice. But so she's like, well, I'm only halfway through. So honestly, it's a pretty good show. It's a pretty good show. Now, we were joking.
I heard Kirk Cousins is actually pretty good.
I love Kirk Cousins in this show. It's totally new light of Kirk Cousins for me. Like, this guy is like so hard not to like, right? Like, he's just like so wholesome, just family man. They joke about it on the show with what he wears and stuff like that. And of course, he's great. And then, gosh, Pat Mahomes, I mean, you can tell he's my wife's favorite for sure, because this guy, he can't do anything wrong. I mean, it's just the way he plays and everything he says is the right thing. I hate to love him, but he's a captivating.
Very much a family man in his own right. Like, Pat's a good businessman. Like, he's got it all working, man.
Yeah. And then we have Marcus Mariota, which...
How he got on the show with those two.
Number 8, man. We love you. Thank you for your time in Tennessee. But man, and he's a great dude, really nice guy. From people I've heard in the community here. But You could tell they kind of like, okay, the producers are like, okay, what are we going to talk about with him? And they're just like trying to figure out what the storyline here is because it's so clear what for the other two, and it didn't help the Falcons were very good. But
nobody was available other than Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I don't know what the play was there. It was a bit of a stretch, and they did a good job trying to talk about his college career and sort of where he's come from. But it is what it is. We'll see what next year comes. But apparently Peyton Manning's producing this thing, so he's pretty passionate about kind of showing the behind the scenes when it comes to, the captain of the field and everything. So I like it. It's a good show.
Peyton, man, doing big things. Look, I always thought Peyton Manning, I thought he would be great in politics, and I thought he would be a great NFL GM.
Yeah. Yeah. Some kind of leadership role in an organization for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's just he dots his I's, crosses his T's for sure.
Very much a businessman himself. Well, let's jump into a little housekeeping here real quick. We want to just tell you about our sponsor tonight, this BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more, and soon to be football, hopefully. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and all your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. I wish that was available in Tennessee. Actually, I'm glad it's not. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in touch, get in on all the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's BetOnline, where the game starts. And thanks to Believe for hooking us up with BetOnline. And let's jump right into it. What are we getting into? A little bit of MLB tonight. We want to talk a little bit about some of the standings. Where everything kind of sits, but let's jump into Shohei Ohtani, right? Like we talked a little bit about this last week, you and Chop did at least, and it doesn't seem like we've gotten a lot of clarity on what's going on and where this dude's gonna land. Surely an impressive guy, and I'm an Angels fan myself. Hope the best for him. Hopefully he stays in Anaheim, which I don't think you think is gonna happen. But,
that is not.
So where's he going? What do you think?
Well, again, the organization's in a really bad spot because you don't want to be the guy that traded him. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're basically, this is Babe Ruth all over again. Right. So the GM of the Angels is in a no-win situation because you can't keep him because they're never going to get it right in LA. And unless Danny Glover and Tony Danza come back with Angels in the outfield, they're screwed.
Love that movie.
Yeah. It's a great movie, man. So he's not going to the Yankees because they're belly up. They're in the cellar of the AL East, so they got to fire Boone. Cashman's going to be gone. The Mets, they're a disaster. I think Ohtani really wants to be on the West Coast. So when I narrow that down, I think about, the Giants were going hard after Judge and Bogarts and came up short. I think it's Dodgers or Giants.
Okay. Why does he want to be on the West Coast? Do you think he wants to be just close? He wants to stay close to home?
He's staying on the West Coast. He's staying on the West Coast now,
as close as he can to Japan. He's like, I just don't want to go too far from my homeland, or what is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, haven't you ate at a Japanese restaurant the way they cook in front of you? I wouldn't want to go far from there either.
Yeah, the Japanese is really good on the West Coast. I agree. Yeah,
I haven't had it there. Phoenix is the farthest I've went, which I go see my daughter middle of August,
GCU?
And she's never been to a football game. So we're going to. It just so happens Chiefs Cardinals is the preseason game that weekend of her birthday. She's turning 21.
Wow.
So going in, move her into college. Dad's going to take her to her first winery, right? And just hang out with her. So I'm super, super excited. But I need to try Japanese out there. But anyway, I preface all that by saying I think he's Dodgers or Giants, I think is where he lands. Now, the Padres are interesting because they made the big trade for Soto, right? And that whole thing has turned into a disaster. So at some point, the Padres are going to have to make a decision. Hey, are we blowing this thing up? Are we going to try to re-sign Soto next year? What's that look like? So, I think the Padres are too far out. Tonight, they're 9 games out of the wild card, and it's not as much about them getting on a roll as having to hop other teams, right? So could the Padres maybe sneak in there and offer a huge package because they got pieces to pair Soto and Ohtani together for a season? But I think at the end of the day, it's Dodgers or Giants.
God, Dodgers.
Which if he goes to the Dodgers, that's just not fair. The Dodgers just keep reloading.
Yeah. That'd be a gut punch for sure, especially in LA, But I mean, the Padres, I could see that for sure. Petco Park, I mean, San Diego is amazing. still called Petco, isn't it? That's what it was when I lived in that area.
I believe so.
Okay. But, you know, so, gosh, you can't go wrong there. Giants, I mean, yeah, I could see either one of those things. He is, where does he stand? I mean, what do you think his legacy is? I mean, as long as he doesn't get hurt, I mean, just the way that he can play both ways, and
he's trending to be a top 10 player all time.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, and I say top 10 both as a hitter and as a pitcher.
Yeah.
Like he's got that capability. I think the problem is he needs to be with a really good team with pieces around him so that you're not driving him into the ground. I mean, he hit his league leading 7th triple tonight. I mean, just think about that. How hard it is to hit a triple. We're 92 games through the season. There's 70 games left and he's got 7 triples.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's missed like a month of the season. So just like the guy, I mean, first of all, he's the MVP. If he doesn't get it, it's only because he's on the sorry Angels.
Yeah.
Which thankfully for them, they probably would have traded him, but they won this series because they played the Yankees, who are worse than they are. Because the Yankees can't score without Judge. So I really think that, again, the Angels are in a horrible situation because you don't want to be the team that trades him. But this reminds me of the Nationals with Bryce Harper. If you weren't going to re-sign him and you knew he wasn't going to take that extension, then you probably know in your mind, A, he doesn't want to be there, or B, somebody else is going to give him more money than you're willing to. You have to get something for a MVP.
Yeah.
And a generational talent. Like, you have to. You can't just let them leave. I don't care what look, and let's be real. They don't really give a darn what the fans think anyway. Front offices don't. It's all about making money. So you got to get assets when you can't just let them leave.
Right. Yeah. Surely it will be interesting to see what happens with him. I mean, and who knows, like, is there a team that just like we don't know about that kind of comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden, you know, big trade happens and, you know, someone like the Rays or something like that, you know, where it's, you know, just out of left field, no pun intended, of course, but, you know, is there anybody else that outside of those teams you think that they're in the running for?
For Ohtani?
Yeah.
They don't need him, but I just think the Braves would be fascinating.
The Braves, yeah.
Closest
I also
team to
think us in Nashville, so that's kind of our MLB team here in Tennessee.
But the Braves are loaded; they don't need to do it. I think the two teams now, Texas, but they already got the number 1 offense in baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Angels aren't going to trade him within the division.
Right.
I think a team that intrigues me, and I said all along this team was going to win the division, and everybody called me crazy. And lo and behold, tonight, they're tied for first place in the AL East. Everybody was talking about how great the Rays were, and I said it for weeks and weeks and weeks. I said, this Rays thing is a mirage.
Yeah.
Everybody told me about the Pirates. What'd I say? The Pirates were a mirage. Everybody told me about the Reds. What'd I say? The Reds are a mirage. I've been right on all of these, haven't I?
Yeah,
so
I was just thinking back to the conversation we had earlier when I was hosting, and we were talking about the Rays, and you know, they were just killing it in their streak and everything. It was, and
they were playing bad teams.
Yeah, and then you called it, but you know, but yeah,
but the Orioles, who are tied with them, Ohtani to the Orioles is intriguing.
That's super intriguing. Well, let's jump into the standings real quick. I mean, like you said, the Orioles and the Rays, obviously are knotted up here in the AL East. And then we move across to, you know, the AL Central with the Twins, AL West, Texas, as you said, the Rangers are leading that division, NL East with Atlanta up top, Milwaukee in the NL Central, and then the Dodgers are leading the NL West. So, you know, I don't know if you want to talk more about the Baltimore and Tampa Bay thing, but what are your thoughts on the MLB standings as they are so far in this point of the season post All-Star game?
Well, everything's like I thought it would be. I also said the Marlins would fade, which they are. The only thing I've been wrong about is I thought the Cubs would really make a run in the Central. They have a lot of talent, but they're 8 games back. Texas starting to stretch it out now, 4.5 games up. Minnesota's going to win the Central just because somebody has to. The Yankees are nine games back, last in the AL East. That they just need a firestorm. Toronto has gotten hot. Now they're 5.5 games back in the East. They're the number 2 wild card. Rays have a 5.5 game lead in the wild card. Then you got Toronto and Houston. Boston 2.5 back. Yankees 3.5 back. I think Tampa Bay's obviously going to make the wild card. Then you got Toronto and Houston. I don't think that moves, but my sleeper is 5 games back is the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, really?
The Mariners have started playing really good baseball. They got really good pitching. Rodriguez can get hot and carry that team for a month. I would just keep a close eye on the Seattle Mariners. And then in the National League, look, I mean, you got the Diamondbacks, Giants, Phillies. I know the Phillies are making it. Giants and Diamondbacks, I'm not sold. But look, Miami's a half game back. I got no confidence in Miami. Cincinnati's 2 back. I told you they're going to fade. Now, the 2 big ones here, San Diego, 6.5 back. The Mets, 7 games back. We know the talent they all have. If they can get hot, could they steal a spot if the Giants or D-backs start to slide a little bit? If one of those 2 teams is going to slide, I think it's the Giants. Again, Philly, they're a lock to get in. I like Arizona, but I'm going to say the Mets somehow find a way to sneak in there instead of the Giants.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, San Diego, I think. I mean, a lot of these teams are really in striking distance here too. I mean, so many, much more on the NL side.
But who's going to trade? Like, a lot of people are going to be going after Blake Snell. I mean, I've been hearing it all day. Who's really, for San Diego, who's really the leading Cy Young candidate in the National League. At what point does San Diego says, okay, we're throwing in the towel because somebody's willing to offer us a king's ransom for the guy that's probably going to win the Cy Young in the NL, right? So I think a lot more unfolds here. I'd be interesting to see what the standings look like when we get back together next week. And I think that's really going to determine what moves these teams make.
Yeah. And gosh, how vindicating is it to see Kansas City where they're sitting too, especially as good as their football team is and having to hear it all year long. Sorry, Chop. Man, but
look,
it's good to see the Royals.
They're one game out of being the worst team in baseball. Them and Oakland are in just they're knotted. Oakland 27-71. Oakland's a game and a half behind the Royals. If they beat the Kansas City Royals this season, listen, I don't want to hear anything from Choppy.
Did you see? I can't remember who posted on social. Was it SportsCenter or something that showed the Yankees and they kind of their schedule, or not their schedule, but their standings and everything, and how they would be that they would actually be first place and is it the Central?
Yeah,
in their last place, and
the Central stinks.
It's crazy, So
that the whole division stinks.
Well, what can you do? There's baseball here, and not too much longer before playoffs roll around, and we're gonna have some fun.
Playoffs.
I know I need to get my sounds pulled up.
5 in a row.
Yeah, let's talk about the record
tonight. Yeah, tonight. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I did, but I'm glad you went with
I'm surprised you didn't bring it up out of the gate. I was like, usually it's the first thing you talk about, and you're all slap happy earlier, and I was like, why are you so happy?
Well, because I'm happy because at the end of the day, there's one thing that will always be true. You're guaranteed of 3 things in life.
Okay.
Death, taxes,
yeah.
And John Cole's going to be 150 games over every freaking flipping calendar year, buddy.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Every year. And for those of you that know, football was amazing. Yes, last year was amazing. Our calendar year runs April 1st through March 31st. We were 288 games over 500. Sounds absurd. I don't know if I'll ever do that again, but 13 years in a row, we've hit at least 150 games over. March for March Madness was brutal, but March 31st end of the season still finished 288 over. Had a horrible, the previous year had a great NBA and NHL playoffs. This year had a horrible one. Got out the gate slow in baseball. but a winner tonight with the Reds, a winner last night with the Mets, 3-0 the night before because we had the postponed game, 5 in a row, right? 9 out of like the last 10, something like that. 27 games over 500. And just like that, ta-da. So again, what's going to happen is exactly what I told you is going to happen. 50 games over 500 in baseball is going to happen, and that means I only need 100 for NFL, college football, NHL regular season, NBA regular season, college basketball. And so, again, all of you that jumped off, I understand why you did. I'm not mad. I get it. Anytime you've ever listened to anybody about gambling advice or anybody you've ever followed is a chump. They lie. It's a sales tactic. As soon as they've used you like a poor, dirty hooker, you've been taken advantage of. And I get why you hop off. But if you just stay, nobody will beat me. Won't happen. Because I don't crack when I am going through a losing streak. I don't change anything up. I stay very methodical. It's like going to the gym every day. You look to the right. Man, I wish I could be that person. Look to the left. Thank God I'm not that person, right? The only thing, and you don't see immediate results. It's the same thing with this. It's an investment over a calendar year. So if you truly want to make money, you would reach out at Jon at bccsports.com and say, let me get on board for football, right? And again, all I can say is the record speaks for itself. It just speaks for itself. So another winner tonight with the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm feeling good, man. And I'm really ready for football. I'm getting in the Circa Millions. Okay. I wanted to announce that tonight.
What is that?
So there's 2 contests. So you can have there's 2 different contests. Circa Sports out in Las Vegas.
All right.
So the first one is, I think it's top 25 get a prize, but the number 1 prize gets $8 million. And it's Survivor. It's $1,000 entry. Okay. So for that $1,000 entry, you get to go. You have to pick straight up, no spread, no nothing. It's a Survivor pool. So you can only use a team one time through the year, and you go 20-0. So you say 20-0. How's that? 18 weeks of the regular season, but there's 2 extra weeks. Christmas Day with 3 games, Thanksgiving Day with 3 games. So you got to be strategic about how you pick throughout.
Wow.
So I'm going to have, $1,000 entry per entry, right? And there's a cap on those. And so I'm going to be in that. And then you have the other one where you can win $6 million, and it's a point system. So you take 5 games against the spread every week, but you don't get to move the line. It's the line that Circa sets when they very first come out. So, we'll be following that out. We'll have a lot of fun with it. I've been very close to these before. There's been 2 offshore books in the past that I won their Survivor. Never made that kind of money. So, but if you get in the top 25, you're guaranteed to make like $50K or something like that.
Oof. You probably got that.
So, but you're talking about, just so we're clear, you're talking like, what is 8 million divided by 1,000?
8 million divided by 1,000 is 80,000. Is that right?
8,000. You're looking, each pool, you're probably going to have 8 to 10,000 people minimum.
Yeah, but
that you're competing against.
Well, hey, you know what they say,
Gambling. Who's anything about gambling? It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
So, I mean, you're the man, so you got this.
Yeah.
And let's follow along. How are we going to follow along with this? You just going to update us on the show?
Yeah, so each week I'm going
to
announce.
Can we follow on Twitter? Maybe you post something on Twitter?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on Twitter. You have to have them in before the Thursday night game every week. Okay, so
handle is bccsports.com or at bccsports.
Yeah, I'm going to list them. So those are going to be some of those will be what the free plays come from. But also you got to remember when you get into this, it's a little bit different than when you, and this is just a quick, we're kind of veering off, but when you're in a contest opposed to just picking games for profit week to week, there's a different strategy and a different mindset, right? So if I'm just breaking down a game that I want to get an edge on to make money, right? I may only like 2 or 3 games that week, and I'm just going to pound them hard.
Yeah.
When you have to pick 5 against the spread, well, now that changes a little bit.
That's crazy.
So what'll have to happen is when the line comes, and I've never gotten in these, I've been talking about for years, I'm going to do it, and finally I'm like, all right, now I'm doing it. So, but what happens is, so the line will come out Sunday for like 4:00, middle of the day. The lines for the next week. So I will literally Sunday night, while I'm watching Sunday Night Football, I will be getting ready. That'll be contest night.
Yep.
That and Monday morning, right? Then Monday, I really kind of vegetate and just watch all content, read content, listen to podcast. Like I'm just soaking in last week, right? Tuesday, I restart. Now I'm working on games I'm going to bet individually. So basically, when the contest comes out Sunday, I want to do that and get away from it as quick as possible, unless there's like a looming injury, right? But you got to be careful because you might say, okay, Survivor, I want to take the 49ers because they're hosting the Rams. Well, that's great, but you also know the 49ers are going to play the Cardinals 2 times later in the year.
So you don't want to use that. Yeah, you don't want to use
So you got to be really careful about who you use where, right? Because here's the thing. On Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day, you have to play a game, and there's 6 teams each day. And those games are not easy games if you haven't looked at the schedule, right? Like, they're division games. They're tough games.
Christmas Day.
So it really makes it much more challenging.
Yeah.
Extreme. So you want to try to use as many here's the thing. You want to try to use as many lower teams as possible when you're in a Survivor with no spread, but you also, the goal for a Survivor is, especially in a 20 game tournament where you got to win 20 in a row, what you're really looking to get to, I got to get past week 10.
Okay. Why is that?
You got to get past week 10. And now what happens is, because you only have $1,000 for that entry, if I can get past week 10, now I can start taking the other side.
Okay.
Right? So let's say I like Dallas to beat the Giants, but the Giants are getting 5.5. Well, I'm going to take the Dallas in the contest because it's week 12. If I get knocked out, I mean, hey, I may at the week 12. But I got a bigger bet now on the Giants plus 5.5, or heck, I could win them both, right? So once you get past the halfway mark, if you're lucky enough to survive and get halfway through the year, now you start adding the handicapping into it, right?
Yeah.
To where you say, okay, now how can I hedge off and make even more money? And then your ultimate goal is, if you can get down to week 16, 17, AJ, and you're still in that thing where now you got to start hedging and cutting deals with the guys that are left. Hey, y'all want to split this 3 ways like they did last year? It was $6 million, and each guy said, no matter what happens, we're all going to walk away with $2 million.
Good for them.
All
That's
3
awesome.
guys agreed.
That's so cool.
But what they also each did, some of them bet the other side, right?
Yeah.
Of the game. So now they made a little more than $2 million. So there's so many different ways to do it, but we'll get into it, and it'll be John's contest watch.
All right. Well, hey,
Circa, look out. Here I come.
Don't they have these that you can do recreationally too? I mean, could we set up a survivor pool for our guys?
We could.
We should do that.
Yeah.
You know, these
guys.
guys.
Yeah, I got to get with Chop and see if he sent Miles his stuff. Miles won our college basketball.
That's right.
Yeah, Miles down in Florida, my buddy. I actually met him in a bar in Texas. And now he's probably like, man, I thought that guy was a liar when he walked up to me, and look at him. He is just all he does is pick winners.
Miles is a loyal fan and winner.
Great guy, man.
And a good guy. And this is what's great about this community. I think there's just a lot of good people in it. Aside from the noise, obviously, there's folks that, one reason or another, they're not happy or whatever. But like for the most part, it's a good community. And we should find a way to activate that community. I think we should, these guys you're spending money with us and they're making money. So how fun would it be for them to all compete against each other, including us? I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah. Or get their thoughts back and forth. Like I'd really like to have an open, and I don't know if it needs to be like in a Discord or whatever, but like have an open, just throw stuff out there. Right.
Yeah. I love it.
And like, I just answer questions, hey, John, what's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on that? Yeah, I'm going to give you plays, but let's, ask me questions.
Well, especially as the community grows too, because right now I think they all just got your cell phone number, which, hey, listen, you sign up right now. You're probably going to have John's cell phone number.
I can guarantee you one thing. You got no of these other jackos online or in Vegas or pretend that they're sleeping in mom's basement saying they're a great handicapper.
Yeah.
You ain't got their personal cell phone number.
Right. So we should definitely do something like that, especially as the community grows. And I think this is a good time to talk about some of the changes that we're going to have with the podcast and the show. We're definitely going through some.
Yeah, why don't you let them in, man?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing solid right now to report, but like basically we're going through some restructuring right now. We're trying to figure out what the content's going to look like. We're talking about football coming up here in a couple of weeks and like what the content looks like. John's been doing a great job at his daily, and I think that's been great for baseball. What does that look like for football? We don't really know exactly. Are we going to go back to a 2-week episode kind of format here that we've done before last season and keep the daily or so anyways, we'd love y'all's thoughts. I mean, leave them in the comments on the YouTube or, shoot us a text or an email at info@bccs, depending on what you're liking, what you're enjoying. Do you want to see more of the daily? Do you want to see more of the BCCS where we actually kind of break stuff down a little bit from more of a news standpoint? And then weave in the sort of more gambling side. I mean, we're kind of in a phase right now where we're trying to figure out what that's going to look like. But what I can promise you is that it's going to be more content come football, no question about it, whether it's more BCCS or more Bustin Chops Callin Shots shows or more of the daily. We're definitely going to have content for you probably almost every single day, not just in the podcast, not just on the YouTube, but on socials and all that stuff. But what format that takes, we're still kind of talking through it. John's not doing the daily right now, as you guys have probably noticed. So just hang in there as we kind of figure out what's next for us and as we figure out what this next season looks like. But promise you soon, we're going to have more for you guys as we kind of discover what that process is going to be.
Yeah, football, I got a lot of ideas, so it's just a matter of, we got a great team here. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to do a lot of stuff. I'm going to be doing something most Sunday mornings from the casino, right? A little how the lines are moving and if I see anything and all that. So I'm excited, man. I'm really excited.
Me too. Yeah. Call it a live stream or, a live or whatever. We're not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but there'll be something for sure that we didn't do last year. So we're going to continue to expand and try and figure out just to get you that content. Again, like even if it's just a matter of like that back and forth and more forums and stuff like that. So it's going to be really exciting come football. And why not talk about football right now? I think there's quite a bit of news that we have to talk about here. And the first one, man, I have to, I don't know. I just have to gloat here for a second. And
I knew it was coming.
You doubted me. You laughed in my face. You laughed in my face and you said there was no, and you're not alone, right? There's many out there that did the same thing. It's like, again, we get counted out. No one thought it was going to happen. There's no way DeAndre Hopkins is going to the Titans, and he signs a 2-year.
Because no other receiver would. He's just money hungry.
I knew you were going to say that, but then again,
he's just money hungry. He's sold out.
Well, he wanted to play with a good quarterback. Why would he go? Why would he go to Tennessee if he wanted to play with? Like, I'm telling you guys right now, you better watch out. And I know you already know this, John. I know you already know this. I've heard you. Sprinkle in little kind of, ways to save yourself at the end of the season here. And I might be wearing a dress at the end of this season, but I promise you here and now, the Titans will win this division. And I was going to say this even before D-Hop came. Titans will win this division. They will sweep the Jags. Everyone is going to be proven wrong, just like they are every time they count out the Titans. And that's where we thrive the most. So there you have it.
Listen, of course Hopkins went to the Titans.
Okay, here we go.
Did you not see Will Levis's girlfriend on the couch at the dress? I mean, if I got to look at that every day, I'd sign up to be the hot dog guy at the stadium. So, which quarterback's going to throw him the ball? Levis, Willis, Tannehill?
Come on, it's Tannehill.
Or is Derrick Henry going to throw it to him on
maybe
running
on a
back sweep
wildcat,
passes?
or we call it the King Cat here in Tennessee? Maybe, I don't know. But look,
I will say this: I have been saying that the Titans are laying in the grass. Now, let's be honest: the Titans are never going to get back to where they were 2-3 years ago. They're a little long in the tooth. But I can see them being competitive for a wild card, and they will be.
Why?
And I said that before D Hop, did I not?
You did.
Yeah.
You did. But let me ask you this: why, if I'm the number one prospect free agent on the market, would I go to a team that's in a rebuilding year, as so many have called it at this point? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Because money talks, and have you saw the jean skirts and cowgirl boots in Nashville?
He did say Nashville is a vibe. Nashville is a vibe.
Yeah.
He said that.
I have a vibe in the middle crotch region every time I walk down Broadway. I mean, have you been in Miranda Lambert's deck bar? Look, that's all you need. You'll never leave Nashville.
I never will leave Nashville, but I don't go down to Broadway very much anymore, except for when you come to town. Of course, we'll go down there and we'll do all the things. We'll hit the pedal taverns.
Look, you don't go down there because you're a married man, and one night down there you'd be an unmarried man, which makes you a smart man.
Yeah, one night will raise an eyebrow. 2 nights will definitely, definitely get me in the doghouse for sure. But yeah, 2 year, $26 million. That's not like crazy. I mean, that's good. I mean,
what do you mean it's not crazy? That guy's old and broken.
Look, I will say this.
How much did Odell get? $15 million or something crazy?
I am still skeptical. Right. I mean, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch by any means. I just wanted to put that out there.
No, you should gloat. They're your team.
Because
I have nothing to gloat.
I mean,
about.
It's not
a Washington Redskins.
It's not a fair comparison, but like Julio Jones, right? I mean, we were all excited about Julio Jones coming here and injuries.
He's going to be better than that,
and I think so. But I'm also like I'm just kind of I'm staying on my on my haunches a little bit here. I'm not getting too into it. I'm excited to have another piece, and we needed that piece. We needed another receiver in the core. I mean, we got some good young guys coming up. Cal Phillips coming back from his injury was showing a lot of promise before he got injured. Traylon Burks is just going to get way better. I mean, I think we have some good pieces, but we definitely needed that.
So you're paying D Hop $13 million a year. What is AJ Brown making a year with the Eagles?
I think he's at 21.
A year?
I think a year, yeah.
Now, don't you think they still should have paid the extra $7 million?
What's that?
Wouldn't you have rather paid the extra $7 million for AJ Brown?
Well, knowing what we know now, I think he probably would have. I mean, I think the issue back then was injuries, right? And that's something that I think the Titans have to figure out. Why are guys having injuries with us, but then they go to teams like AJ Brown went to Philadelphia, Roger Saffold, no injuries last year, left Tennessee with a bunch of injuries. I mean, so that's an internal question I think that has to be solved, and I think probably is being addressed. But yeah, I think that was the big thing is like, look, this guy's super talented, really promising, but can he stay healthy? And that was the big question mark, I think, and that's kind of why they decided to let him go.
Yeah, I just listen, I think the Titans are going to be right there in the mix as long as Tannehill plays well.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis and Malik the Freak Willis, if he's even still in the league, they're not taking them anywhere. A healthy Tannehill can have them sniffing a wild card or maybe get them into a wild card. And as long as Derrick Henry is healthy, and look, I still think Vrabel is one of the top 6-7 coaches in the league. Okay. It's just going to come down to health. And they're just fighting what all the teams in the AFC are fighting, a really loaded conference.
Yeah, it's super
like
loaded.
An extremely loaded conference.
Right. But really only one contender in their division. So, but yes, I agree. It's
yes, only one contender in their division. The problem is that team's really freaking good.
Yeah, you love them.
And the coach is better than Vrabel.
Easy.
He did win a Super Bowl. Has Vrabel? Oh, that's right. He hasn't been the one yet. I got you. Okay.
He's like 5 years in the league. Give him a break.
Huh?
He's like 5 years in the league. I mean, shoot.
He's been there longer than that. He's been coaching longer than Peters.
2018.
Listen, I like Vrabel. I like the Titans. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they can compete for the division. But as long as those beautiful blonde locks are there in the South, they're going to have a tough time. Tough time.
We got some beautiful blonde locks in this part of the South too. So let's jump over to some running back talk, right? Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard all get denied their contracts and they don't secure anything long term. Saquon says he's prepared to do what it takes. What does this mean for these guys?
He says he's willing to just say, screw it, I'll set out.
Do you think the other two are going to do the same? What are your thoughts on Pollard and Jacobs?
Look, Pollard, I don't think has a leg to stand on, no pun intended, because he got hurt, right?
And there's no Zeke, so he's got potential, like plenty of upside to.
Yeah, Zeke's only 27, but they cut Zeke, and look, things get ruined all the time, right? And they get overpriced. So Jerry Jones giving Zeke Elliott that contract really ruined the football, the running back market. There is also this thing of devaluing the running back position because they're like, oh, you can find a running back anywhere. I just want to be clear. You can find a running back or a wide receiver, or you can find almost any position anywhere. However, there are elite guys that you look at and you say, okay, is that price tag too high because I can find a cheaper person? Maybe, but like, I guess my thing is back in the day, like when Adrian Peterson, would he have been worth the money or not? Like Barry Sanders, is he worth the money or not?
Back in that,
and I'm not saying Barkley and Josh Jacobs is in that class, but for this NFL, they're the two best running backs in the league outside of Derrick Henry. And the Titans were just talking about trading Derrick Henry. So to me, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs just led the league in rushing. Hadn't been hurt. He was a stud at Alabama. He's been an amazing citizen. If you're the Raiders, as horrible as your culture is, why you don't make that guy happy is crazy. And then this whole Giants thing, again, the Giants ruined this, giving Danny Dimes $40 million a year.
You're going to pay Danny Dimes, and you're not going to pay Saquon. Like, it's just crazy.
Well, here's the bad part. So people say, well, in the franchise tag, Barkley gets 10. He was only asking for like 13. So $3 million a year has caused all this. And I don't blame Barkley. I blame the Giants. Look, listen, the New York Giants don't have a shot in hell of making the playoffs with Barkley. Let's just get that straight right now. You blow me up all you want on social media. That team, I don't care how good Brian Dable is. I don't care how a bunch of Daniel Jones is a fluke. A fluke. And defenses have watched tape. They are going to destroy him. So with Barkley, they're not getting the 9 wins and getting in the playoffs. It's not going to happen.
I don't even know if he's a fluke at this point. I mean, he's never really. It's not like the Flutie fluke, kind of thing. Yeah. Where it's like you have a season of
Flutie was a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I like Doug Flutie, but look, I mean, it wasn't like he had an amazing season one year and then he's just going to fall off. Like he's never really even had that. I mean, it's always been.
Yeah, he didn't even have a good year. Like he wasn't even a top 10, 15 quarterback that deserved that money. It was Brian Dable and it was Saquon Barkley. So to preface my point, if you take Saquon out of that team this year, they're not getting to 6 wins. I don't care if Jesus Christ comes back and puts John the Baptist at flanker, St. Peter at tight end, and has got Judas toting the rock, and we know how he can, run it up people's backside. They ain't getting to 6 wins. It ain't happening. And all you Giant fans can lay me out there, but you suck worse than Dallas. Just think about that. You suck worse than Dallas. Okay? So And if you replay the Viking game all over again, like if they were to play this year, they got no shot.
Yeah.
Right? Because now Minnesota's actually got a defensive coordinator now. Right? So, like, look, the Giants have no shot at making the playoffs. And without Barkley, listen, I'm telling you, I can see it happening now. San Diego, LA, whatever you want to call them, the Chargers, it should be San Diego, is going to end up giving up a lot of cash and a first-round pick and a third-round pick for Brian Dable. That's going to be the move very soon. I'm just telling you. If not after this year, after next, but I think it happens after this year.
Well, I do think that, when it comes to like the running back conversation, it's kind of fucked up, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's and even, not to take it back to the Titans, but Derrick Henry had a tweet this week where he was talking about, kind of just how ridiculous it's become with the running backs and how expendable they've become.
Yeah.
It's like an organization can just go, yeah, like I'll just draft another guy who can do that, and granted, I mean,
you're not drafting another Saquon Barkley,
but you're going to draft a guy, you're going to put him out there, and he's going to freaking lay his life on the line for you, right? He's going to get hit so many times. He's going to kill his body. And then you're going to franchise tag him for 1 year. And then you're going to draft another running back. It's like, it's just.
Yeah, you're going to franchise tag him, and then you're going to double his workload.
Right.
To run the absolute piss out of him.
Yeah.
And then throw him away.
Yeah.
Listen, there is no Saquon Barkleys out there. There is no Josh Jacobs. Think about how much those two guys carry on their shoulders. And again, I'm big on being a great person. All right. As a Christian, I love good people. Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs have been the most amazing teammates, great face of an organization, great community people. Like, that's got to count for something.
Right.
And again, this didn't happen in San Francisco or, it didn't happen in a good organization. The Giants and the Raiders have both been a disaster since the 80s. The only time the Giants have been good is because they had Coughlin and Eli Manning. And let's not get it twisted. Even on those, they were wild card teams that won the Super Bowl. It weren't like they were like good teams in the NFL.
Right.
And I love Tom Coughlin. I think he's a great coach. But like, let's just call it for what it is. It's not like they won those Super Bowls being a dominant team. They were just as much a flash in the pan as the Arizona Cardinals the year they had Kurt Warner, that if Roethlisberger and Holmes don't make an amazing play, the Cardinals win a Super Bowl. The Giants got too lucky. The defense played phenomenal. Not going to take that away from them. They outplayed the Patriots, blah, 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 blah.
Defense has always been pretty solid, yeah.
But they got lucky.
Right.
Okay? The reality is, since the 80s, since Parcells and Belichick and Lawrence Taylor and Pepper Johnson and Phil Simms and Rodney Hampton and Otis Anderson and Mark Bavaro and all those Giants, since that team went away, the Giants organization has been ran like a waste management company. The Raiders, I mean, I love my Raiders.
Mm-hmm. I do.
It is an absolute, I can't even begin to try to explain the Raiders.
Is that since Gruden left, or is that because of Gruden?
Well, the only times they've ever been good is with Gruden. So, I'm sorry. I would give the middle finger to the NFL and anybody that follows it and not hiring back. That's what I would do. And you know what? You don't want to follow my franchise. You want to boycott. You want to have picket signs. Take them and shove them right up your backside. I'd hire him back.
Yeah, they're not.
That's the only shot the Raiders got. That organization has been a disaster. It really has, since the mid-'80s, late 80s. Right? It really mid-'80s, because the late 80s, they went through the whole Tom Marinovich, Jeff Hostetler. I mean, the Raiders have been a mess. A mess. So you have two organizations that have been a mess, and they got the best two players outside of Derrick Henry. They got two of the best three players at that position in the league, and you treat them this way? I mean, I just, no wonder players act the way they act sometimes, because it's like, man, I give you everything, and then you can't even meet me halfway.
Yeah. You never see a running back like a diva running back like you do with wide receivers. I mean, they have a different mentality about them. They have a different way that they operate. And it's a bummer that they don't get taken care of more in this league. I mean, especially as much.
So if the running back position didn't matter as much as the front office likes to claim, why did everybody say Bijan Robinson was the best player in the draft and the Falcons took him at 7?
There you go.
If Barry Sanders was in the league today, would you pay him? Or would you just say I can find that running?
Well, no, we know now. Of course you'd pay him, but hindsight's 20/20.
Adrian Peterson, would you pay him?
Depends on
Thurman Thomas, would you pay him? You know what I mean? So, like, again, I'm not saying all 32 teams need to pay their running back that way. But when you have a player, I don't care if it's quarterback, running back, cornerback, safety, linebacker, when you have a guy that's a top 3 to 5 player at his position, if you're an organization and he's in his 20s, their money is no option.
Yeah.
Money, it should never be an option.
So how do you look at this whole Dalvin Cook thing then, with him being on the market still, probably the top prospect in free agency right now? Is that part of it? Is that the reason that a lot of teams won't sign him? Is just the mentality you're talking about with the front office?
They're trying to lowball him. And look, remember Le'Veon Bell set out and it ended up hurting him in so many ways when he tried to take a stand. Like, again, as they say, you're not bigger than the shield, but I really feel bad for the running backs. I mean, it's a tough spot, man.
Yeah.
Again, the Titans were taught, and again, there's things that haven't. So, like Isaiah Pacheco of the Chiefs, the year he had, well, we got him in the 7th round. Well, you know what? You got Tom Brady in the 6th. So, I mean, like, sometimes you just find a gem late. Again, that doesn't mean that, like, everybody can play that. Like Dalvin Cook, he's had some injury stuff, but the fact he's still on the market blows my mind.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I'm still not sure why Minnesota let him go.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still, like, if he's hanging out there now, I'm like, well, why didn't Minnesota just keep him? But Austin Eckler's going through the same thing with the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Look at Austin Eckler's touchdowns, receptions, carries. I mean, he's been 50% of the Chargers. I mean, we always want to talk about Justin Herbert. Take Eckler off there then.
Right.
Because last time I checked, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen couldn't stay healthy at all. One of them was out every week, but the Chargers were still rolling. Austin Eckler, 3 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 4 touchdowns this week.
Yeah.
So take Eckler off and let's see how good Herbert is now.
Yeah, he's just been such a solid piece for them for so long now, catching balls out of the backfield the way he does and finding ways to get in the end zone. Just, yeah.
Yeah, so why is it even a discussion?
I don't know.
Okay. One of the Redskins running backs. All right, let's have the discussion. Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard is a nice player, but he doesn't deserve to be in the same breath as Josh Jacobs and Barkley. He's just along for the ride as a third person on the bottom screen.
Right.
That didn't get paid. But I mean, you know, Miami wants to cut one of their backs. They got good ones, but nobody that's like elite, right? So, like, you know, Mixon of the Bengals, he took less money to stay with them. You know, I mean, there's guys, but then there's dudes. And Barkley and Josh Jacobs are dudes. Yeah. And you pay dudes in their prime.
100%. And
you worry about cap stuff later.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, agreed. And I think Pollard, you know, we got to see what he looks like this season, right? Without Zeke with him, you know, I think that's gonna.
And he's coming off he tore his ACL or something. I mean, so
you know, I could see that. It's like, hey, you know, let's see a good season with you as RB1, you know, not injured, and then we'll have a conversation. So totally agree with that. You know,
but I mean,
well, let's
Well, let me ask one more thing.
Yep.
If the running back position isn't important as it's being devalued, again, I would just question. I want to see the Chargers without Eckler. I know what's going to happen if Barkley isn't on the Giants. That's a guarantee. And look, the Raiders are a disaster. I know what they're going to look like without Josh Jacobs. But here's another one. Take McCaffrey off the Niners. Man, they were a totally different team once they traded for him, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
People were all worried, Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm. Just put McCaffrey back there.
Yeah.
You can throw the ball.
Take McCaffrey out.
Yeah.
Let me see how you get that ball and how smart Shanahan is and how quick and great Purdy can break down information when it's an all-out blitz because they don't have to worry about the running game.
Yeah.
Or throwing it to McCaffrey out of the backfield. Or all the times they use Deebo Samuel as a running back. Take that aspect away, and then let's see how good they are, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. And
I hope Barkley sets out because I hate the Giants anyway, so nothing would make me happier.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I mean, look, you got to have both sides, right? Like you have to have a good, strong running back that keeps those defenses on their toes, right? But then you got to have the receiving core on the other side too, so that you can't just load the box every play and plan for that, So for teams that think they have both, it would make sense to probably re-sign those guys, But speaking of guys that are throwing the ball, Brock Purdy's probably not on this list, but John, you put together a little preseason list for us of quarterbacks.
I did.
Top 10 quarterbacks right now. And I think this would be a good time to go down that list because I think it would speak a lot to probably this conversation we're having right now.
Yeah, so I made the list. A lot of people are going to get, a little cranky about the list. But let's define the list for what it is, okay? The list for what it is there's your history goes into it to some degree, right? Last year plays into it. And then what I project for you to look like this year, right?
Okay.
So, Pro Football Focus put out theirs. There's a couple of people that put theirs out, right? There's a lot of stuff I don't agree with. And I was like, look, I just got to, because I know everybody's love affair with certain quarterbacks. But then there's like, come on, folks, we got to have reality, right? So I put together my top 10.
Okay.
And I think you're going to like them a lot.
Are we going to go 10 to 1 or are we going to go from 1 to
We're
10?
going to go 10 to 1.
Okay. Well, I think
this is going to 10 being the low guy. Number 10 on that show you love, my boy Kirk the Squirt Cousins.
Okay.
Listen,
really?
Everybody knocks Kirk Cousins. Can't win primetime games. Can't win big game. Look at the man's numbers.
You like that?
Yeah. Look at the man's numbers. Look, whether it's Washington or Minnesota, again, you want an adult in the room. You want an adult at the podium. You want a guy that's going to guide the franchise, be a leader. He's never had a defense, right? Look at how he pulled that Washington franchise into the playoffs, right? And then what he's done with Minnesota. You can knock on Kirk Cousins all you want to knock on him, but he's the 10th best quarterback in the league. He's better than Dak Prescott. He's better than Tua. He's better than Deshaun Watson. He's better than Derek Carr. And the numbers say it, right? So if you're going to argue with me, you're just arguing a narrative that ESPN and all of them have tried to point out about Kirk Cousins, and you're not looking at the numbers.
I like.
You're just not.
Yeah, I would like to see these numbers that you're talking about.
Pull them up.
No, I'm not disagreeing on the Kirk Cousins thing, but I want to work down the list here and kind of see who might be missing because I think.
Yeah.
But
honorable mention at number 11 was Jared Goff. He was just on the outside, nipping at the heels.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. He was nipping at the heels.
So you saw Kirk Cousins play in person.
Yes.
Did that
many times?
Did that sway this decision here, just being able to kind of see, because it does make a difference when you see people in person and how they command the field and what they do.
AJ, I'm going to tell you this right now. And I think Justin Jefferson, I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I could agree with that.
With the Vikings.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you something right now. If Kirk Cousins had been with Sean McVay and been on that Rams team that won the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, he would have put up the same numbers Stafford did, and he would have won that Super Bowl.
Oh.
If he was with the San Francisco 49ers, which I hope actually happens, they win the Super Bowl. And it ain't, listen, it ain't even close in the NFC. Like, you talk Philly all you want. You put Kirk Cousins, again, I don't want to knock he's not on the level of a Burrow or a Mahomes by no means. But when you talk about play action passer and a guy that his completion percentage is up there. And look, they ask him to throw the ball a lot.
They do.
Again, why they're letting Dalvin Cook go makes no sense to me whatsoever. Right? Because that's what he's predicated off of, his play action. But he has been a top 10 quarterback statistically. All right. So he doesn't play well on Sunday or Monday night. Look, I watched him win a playoff game at New Orleans against a darn good New Orleans team. It's not his fault. Everybody goes, well, he threw a 5-yard pass when they needed 7 yards against the Giants. A, there was a blitz in his face. B, they should have never been in that position because the defense couldn't have stopped a freaking cold. Okay? He put up numbers. Go back and look at his stats that game. Kirk Cousins is the 10th best quarterback in the league. He's better than Dak Prescott, right? He's got more playoff wins than Prescott. He's played 100 more games than Tua. Tua only plays 2 a year, right?
Two a year.
Derek Carr had a really good year last year, but look, the reality of the matter is, it was one good year.
Yeah.
I got to see it again.
All right. Fair enough.
So, anyway, number 9, Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
All right. I got to see him coming off the injury. Look, all the excuses are off the table for Lamar. All right. Everything was an excuse. I don't have weapons. I don't have this. I don't have that. He has everything he needs to be successful right now. Okay. So if he's not successful, it's clearly going to be on him and him alone. In my opinion, what say you?
Totally agree. He's got the money, right? He's got the franchise backing him. He's got some weapons now. Yeah. I feel like every year is like a do or die year for this guy, right? Like, it's just, you got to win a playoff game, or you got to get a couple playoff wins, and kind of get to that, past that point. Love the way he plays. Love watching him. Cause just got to show me something.
Yeah.
No doubt. You can't deny his talent, and I don't think anybody can or does. He's certainly, like, I'm a big Michael Vick fan, especially in his prime, but like, I think Lamar Jackson's a far better quarterback than Michael Vick was, from his ability to do the things that was required of him in the offense. And still have all the talent around that to be able to perform and be able to make plays. But man, just the ability to kind of get those big ones, kind of goes back to the Kirk Cousins thing a little bit too. So I don't agree that the talent's there. I don't disagree that the talent's there, I should say, but I want to see something for sure this year. I think it's no more excuses, to your point.
All right. So we're actually on number 7, because 10 was a 2-parter, Cousins golf. So I apologize. Cousins golf. So really Lamar is 8. I apologize. Got that.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you said
so number 7.
Golf was an honorable mention, but so.
Well, 10 was a tie is what I meant. I mean, it's late. Jesus, it's like 3 a.m. on the East Coast. Give me a break.
Goodness gracious. Just
Jared Goff. All right. So number 7, your boy, your man, you love him. You got him on the front of your Speedo right now, A-Rod.
Oh.
With the little jet propeller in the back.
Thank you.
So look,
Thank
man,
you for just at least acknowledging that he is still one of the top quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's top 10 quarterback. Right now, look, there's a lot of hype over the Jets. They got a brutal schedule, right? I mean, I think everybody's being unreasonable. I'm going to be on the side of reasonable. I think 10 wins is a huge accomplishment if they can get there. I really do. I mean,
we looked at the schedule
brutal.
a couple weeks ago. It's
brutal. And he's old. Like, he's old.
He's not like Tom Brady old, but he's like old for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's a look, Brady was a different cat. Even Manning was a different cat till the neck really got him. But Rodgers is like, he's like Marino towards the end, right? Like, yeah, you still got the beautiful arm, but
yeah,
Troy Aikman still had the arm, but everything else just. So, like Aaron Rodgers, I just want everybody to understand he's not going to carry them, right? That's not going to happen. He needs to come in and just make the couple throws he needs to make. And yes, have that 1 or 2 games he carries them. But to think he's going to carry them for 17 weeks and have this MVP season, that is not possible.
Okay.
That is not possible.
All right.
I just want to make sure we get that out there. You're laughing, but I'm just telling you.
I'm just so
that's
tempted.
not possible.
I'm just trying to think of how to put a bet on the board here. I really am just trying so hard.
Follow me. We don't know what kind of coach Salah is. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
They're still the New York Jets.
That's a big part of it for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like that little boy in Big Daddy, the gosh darn Jets. Like they're still the Jets. You have the New York media, which them and Aaron Rodgers on a honeymoon, and it's all cute. But what if they come out the gates 1-3 with that schedule? That's possible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They could come out 1-3 and still make the playoffs. But again, that schedule is brutal. Okay, so I just want us to be realistic about our expectations. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair. It's like
I think that's more than fair.
MVP.
No.
What bet do I want to throw out here?
MVP, you are out of your mind. I will.
I'm not going to go there.
Whatever you want.
I'm not going to go there. I feel like there's something here.
You can't even be considered for the MVP if you can't win your division.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll think of
something. I'll let you make a bet if it's what you really want to do.
I owe you too many bottles still. I need to send those to you.
Yeah, you do. All right. Number 6. I like this guy a lot. I hear a lot of people saying he's a top 3 quarterback. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. I think he works hard. I think he grinds. I think he can have a really good career. But folks, to make this guy seem like he's this amazing thrower of the football and is going to be the next Pat Mahomes is unrealistic. And that's Jalen Hurts. And I love Jalen Hurts. But people putting him in the top 5 are a prisoner of the moment. Well, he almost won the MVP if he didn't get hurt. Yeah, I saw somebody else in the Eagles jersey do that 4 years ago. His name's Carson Wentz. What team's he on again? Oh, that's right. He's down at the local Piggly Wiggly now. Okay? Throwing Nerf balls in the stock room. Okay, so let's just be realistic and let's give it some. Now, I think Jalen Hurts has I don't think he's a head case like a Wentz, right? I mean, he's played at Alabama. He had to go to Oklahoma. Like, Jalen Hurts is tough as nails, right?
Mm-hmm.
But guys that run around typically have shorter careers. That whole QB sneaking stuff, I get it. He can bench press 1,000 pounds or squat 1,000 pounds. But again, eventually the pounding takes hold, and I think he's always going to work on his craft. But these got 5 guys in front of him. If you can realistically say he's a better quarterback and is going to have more playoff wins, even this year when the NFC only really has 2 good teams, Philly and San Francisco, and everybody else blows for the most part. Minnesota and Detroit are intriguing. But it's not like the AFC where you and I talked about. That thing's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
There's that sea turtle I love again.
What's his name?
Wilbur.
Wilbur.
Yeah, Wilbur, the
Shout out
YouTube
to
sea
Wilbur.
turtle. I love it. Shout out
YouTube
Wilbur.
TV.
Wilbur. So Wilbur. Number 5. People are going to get on me about this one, but look, folks, sometimes coaches make players, and we got to realize sometimes the player's not that good when the coach leaves. Number 5, Josh Allen. Again, I know he's dynamic. I know he's cute. I know everybody thinks it's just the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I think he's going to take yet another step back. Look, you lose Brian Daboll. McDermott's a really good coach, but he's a defensive guy. He's not an offensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Dorsey, I saw him play at Miami. I don't have faith as an offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Allen's dating some super hot chick that he's getting really serious with. Mama wants you home. All right. So you and Stephon Diggs, y'all apparently ain't video gaming because Diggs is pissed all off season. Right. Like the Bills have issues, and we see this all the time. Teams' windows start to shrink.
Yeah.
And I said this a month ago, that 13 seconds against the Chiefs, I really feel like we'll look back at that and say that was the Bills' best shot with Josh Allen to ever win a Super Bowl, and that 13 seconds missed it. I don't think they get the one.
I
really don't
necessarily disagree with you. Yeah, I think we've seen them take small steps back every year, and every year they come out Super Bowl favorites, and gosh, yeah, they're gonna have to do something this year.
Listen, if Tua stays healthy, Miami's winning that division.
Yeah, I know. That's your pick. I know the Dolphins are your pick.
I mean, rewind back. The Bills couldn't blow out Skylar Thompson in the playoffs. Just saying.
Yeah.
For a friend.
I was talking
and
to
no Stephon Diggs. Look, Josh Allen wasn't even that amazing until Diggs came along. Like when you have a stud one, that changes things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that changes things. So I'm just saying, like, watch, Tannehill had a really great year, and then last year he struggled, right? Well, I can tell you right now, if D-Hop stays healthy, you're going to be like, oh, man, Tannehill's having a great year. When you can throw the ball up and a guy just go get it,
yeah, makes
10, 12
difference.
times a game, that changes things. Just saying. Number 4, this guy, I think he has a world of potential. I still don't understand why everybody's so enamored with Kellen Moore. I think he's a moron. I don't understand the love affair, but I can't deny the talent. I love Justin Herbert. I'm still mad and pissed off that Washington didn't draft him and they drafted Chase Young instead, right? Because I said it when he was at Oregon, even when he was struggling. When they played Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl, I had 15K on Oregon. They won it outright. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's got all the goods. However, you got to get that daggone coaching staff away from him. Okay? Staley and Kellen Moore both suck. They're overrated. They suck. They should have hired Sean Payton. They need to go after Brian Daboll. You put Daboll and Herbert together, Kansas City's run's going to come to a screeching halt. I'm just telling you. It's going to come to a screeching halt.
You're talking some big words there.
I know. Reading my 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic.
Justin Herbert, number 4.
Yeah, Herbie.
I can't.
What's wrong with Herbert at 4?
I think
who's behind him that should be in front of him?
I could see Josh Allen.
I
mean, look, I agree with a lot of what you said about Josh Allen, but Justin Herbert, no, I think he's in the same boat. I think he takes a huge step back, and he's continued to take steps back. I think. I mean, from
when we line up their career, who you think A has better stats and B has more playoff wins? I think both categories are Herbert by a mile.
I don't necessarily agree. No, I mean this season's going to tell a lot for sure, but. I think when the Chargers get rid of Bert and Ernie, aka Staley and Moore, then you're going to see him blossom. Okay. Well, I mean,
I would love to see
that's not happening
Herbert
this year.
Like
so this is your preseason 2023 picks. You might want to be careful, right? Those are the coaches, and so that's what he has to work with. So, I don't know. I've just never been really that impressed with anything I've seen from Justin Herbert, honestly. I know
really?
No.
Oh, man, I like him. I've always loved him.
All right. Well, you're the expert.
Love at first sight. Yeah. Number 3. Anytime you can throw 5 interceptions and still come back from 4 touchdowns to win a playoff game, you got to be there, baby. Trevor Lawrence. Number 3, the Golden Locks. He's a winner.
That was a very impressive showing.
Think about it. And everybody goes, oh, did you see how bad he played? Yeah. And they won.
Right.
With him playing that way. Because he could have very easily hung his head and he just said, nah, I'm just going to keep slinging it around the yard. Here's the upside that makes Trevor Lawrence so good. What I just said about Josh Allen, sometimes it's the player, but it takes the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Peterson is one of the best in the game offensively. He just really
He's a really
is.
good coach.
And again, they got weapons for days, and now you're throwing Calvin Ridley back into that mix with not a difficult schedule, right? So we're going to see, listen, I will eat crow if Trevor Lawrence doesn't have them banging the drum towards the top of the AFC, but I don't think that's going to happen. The kid's a winner. He's tough. He doesn't care. As far as he doesn't get rattled, he's not an emotional guy. I mean, again, when you fumble twice and throw 4 or 5 picks and get down over 4 touchdowns and come back and win, look, you got some moxie that 98% of the people in this world ain't got. And 98% of the quarterbacks in the National Football League doesn't got.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't disagree with some of those remarks. I just think that after one good year, really, and people can say, the year before that, it was the coach and it was all this other drama that was going on with the organization. Fine, but really, we just have one good sample size for this guy. And to put him in front of, I mean, look, he might be in the top 10, but number 3.
Yeah, who you got to put in front of him?
You just want him to be a woman so badly. Like,
that's not true.
You just have a love affair.
It's totally not true.
I mean,
let me ask you something. If you're an organization, okay, and in 3 through 10 we listed, and I want you to be honest with yourself.
Okay.
I'm
really
2023. I said the past, it goes into this a little bit, but it's more or less 2023. Are you taking Derek Carr over him?
No.
Dak Prescott?
No.
Are you taking Jared Goff?
No.
Are you taking Kirk Cousins?
No.
You shouldn't take Aaron Rodgers, but you will because you love him like I love Lawrence. But in your heart of hearts what the right answer is.
If I'm betting on the organization, obviously, because he's a younger player and he's got a lot more promise. I mean, he's, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson?
Probably still take Lawrence.
All right. Herbert? I mean, he just beat Herbert. He spotted him 29 points and came back and whooped him. I mean, are you really going to say Herbert should be ahead of him?
No, I just told you that I don't like Herbert, so.
Okay. Jalen Hurts?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe. I like what I've seen from Hurts. I know you're saying he's running quarterback.
People love what they saw with Mike Vick.
I don't think it's the same player.
You're right. Mike Vick was way better. I'm glad you acknowledged that. Look, if Mike Vick doesn't get in trouble, Mike Vick goes down as the top 10 quarterback of all time.
I don't think he was ever going to evolve his game enough. I don't think he. No, I don't agree with that. But
really, all right.
I loved Mike Vick. I loved watching him. Like, it was so.
Dude, Mike Vick was my boy back in the day.
So fun to watch. But I don't think he was. He just couldn't get his game. He couldn't evolve his game. Like, he couldn't do it to me. From what I saw, I mean, I was pretty young, but.
And what about Josh Allen? Because you're thinking about the past 3 years. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, but you said like you said at the beginning of this, that
it goes into it a little bit. But who's going to have the better year?
It's just a little bit. Okay,
is Josh Allen going to have a better year with a P.O. Diggs organization in turmoil, and now he's got some celebrity TV show hot chick that wants him home for dinner?
But you said it's
Lawrence has already been married since he's been in college. He was married in college. So, I mean,
but if it's my organization and I have to start fresh with somebody, am I choosing Trevor
Allen
Lawrence
or Lawrence? Who are you choosing?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm torn. But
okay,
probably
so
Allen.
There's nothing absurd about having him number 3.
No, probably Allen though. I'm saying I probably would take Allen over him. I think he needs to be. He needs to be in the top 5, 6.
Who?
Lawrence. He can be in the top 10, but he doesn't need to be cracking number 5. I don't think. Maybe 5.
What? No,
I just told you. I just gave you, because I think potentially Hurts and Allen are at this moment in time. Now this season could change a lot.
Well, he would
of
still
what
be
we've seen.
fifth then. He would still be fifth.
Okay, so maybe fifth. Whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what this year.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Number 2, these last two need no introduction. Number 2, Joe Burrow, the modern day Jon
You
AJ.
kept him at 2. Gosh, Josh is going to be so happy.
Yeah, Joe cool. He's a little Joe Montana with a little John Elway sprinkled in. Burrow's going to win multiple Super Bowls. Listen, he's I just love watching him play. I love his demeanor. I love his confidence. I love how he's carried that organization. You know, you could make the argument, right? And I do think, obviously Pat Mahomes is number 1. But I would push back on Pat Mahomes he had a great arm at Texas Tech. Don't get it twisted. Sean Payton was going to move up with New Orleans. Like, he was the secret. Like, if you coach it out of him, he's there, right? He can be good. Now, did we think he could be this good? No, nobody did. Not even Andy Reid. So Chop can tell you that when he's on here, but the reality is no. But for Joe Burrow to go to Ohio State and be their number 1 cat, and just goes to show you how stupid Ryan Day is, kick him to the curb for Justin Fields. Burrow to go to LSU, where Ed Orgeron, great man, but he's not a head coach, and do what he did that could arguably be the greatest college football team of all time that season they put up. Then to be the overwhelming number 1 pick to go to arguably, like we just talked about the Giants and Raiders franchises. How about we talk about the Cincinnati Bengals franchise?
So bad for so long.
I mean, the only worse, think about the Cardinals have been to the Super Bowl. At least the Lions, they didn't get to the Super Bowl, but they had some good years with Calvin and Stafford, had some good years with Bear. But the Bengals, other than like a 3-year run with Boomer Esiason, there's a blast from the past.
Boomer.
And Sam Weiss, God rest his soul. A horrible organization with a coach. Remember, everybody was calling for Zach Taylor's job. He was a buffoon, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then Burrow got hurt.
Oh, yeah, that was so... Ugh.
And then for him to bounce back and outplay Stafford. And again, if not for a terrible holding call, the Bengals win that Super Bowl. But hey, if ifs and nuts were butts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas or however that goes. I'm just saying, Pat Mahomes couldn't have did what he's did in Cincinnati. If you think about the path, because Mahomes, you get to come in and say what you want about Alex Smith. Listen, Smith,
he had that team rolling.
It was a solid quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
Right? If not for injury. So you walk in behind a pro and a good team, and you get what now people are calling, they're talking about, is Andy Reid better all time when it's all said and done, or is it going to be Belichick? Like, Andy Reid's in the top 5 or 6 head coach of time. And Eric Bieniemy, this great offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy. Burrow never had any of that. Burrow didn't have Jack. He didn't have Travis Kelce. He didn't have the cheetah. He didn't have all that at the beginning, right? Like, I'm just saying, Mahomes is better than Burrow, but if Mahomes had went to the Bengals, we would never know the Pat Mahomes we know now. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean Burrow's better. I'm just saying, to go to Ohio State, have a bonehead coach that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground like Ryan Day, then to go to LSU, battle for the job. LSU wasn't even supposed to be on the scene that year. Go bananas with them, right? And run through everybody. Be the number 1 pick, and your reward is you get to go to arguably the worst franchise other than Cleveland in the existence of the NFL and have them in the Super Bowl, 2 years later? 3 years later?
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes couldn't have did that. He would have never, because he got to set a year. got to sit behind Alex Smith. And look, Mahomes is better. Mahomes may go down as one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying paths mean something.
Yeah. Coaches mean
situations mean something.
Yeah. Like, I think
okay.
Obviously Chop would disagree, but like
yes, he would. Yeah. But again, I would push back. Does Tom Brady is the reason the Patriots won the Super Bowls more than Belichick. However, if he doesn't go to New England, he's not in the league in 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because Belichick was the right coach with the right system and pushed him enough. Like, again, situations matter. They matter.
Yeah.
You can't just discount a situation. So, yeah, Chop would disagree, but hey, that's brothers. They get into your stuff when they're younger. They follow you around, and then when they get older, they try to act smarter.
So any thoughts on Mahomes?
You got 2 boneheads following you around.
I do. Not, and the latter part's probably more true than anything. They're not really following me around anymore. And they're very smart guys.
Don't you agree with Burrow and the Burrow and Mahomes comp?
I thought you were going to put him 1, but I mean, because you also have a low.
No, I can't.
You really can't. I mean, not now.
You can't. Mahomes is the best. It's not. I don't want to say it's not close, but it's not an argument.
So Mahomes says the Chiefs are motivated more than ever for this next Super Bowl. Why? Why?
I think a lot of people are throwing some shade in the armor. Like, they're boosting Pat up, talking about how great he is, right? But then they're like, this team or the Jets or the Ravens and then there's this whole thing with them and the Bengals, which really Pat and Joe did a good job of staying out of that for the most part. But I just think, I think the Chiefs, and I think this is Andy Reid, right? Remember he had that run with Philly where they had like 4 straight NFC championship games, finally got to the Super Bowl. If McNabb had been in any kind of shape, maybe they beat the Patriots, right? I think Andy Reid is getting, Chop thinks he's going to coach another 12 years because of Mahomes. Like, there's a physical and age thing that comes into play.
Yeah.
Right? He's almost 70. But he understands there's a window. Like, Kelsey's not going to run around like that forever.
Right.
The reality is they don't have any offensive weapons outside of him, really. I mean, they got a couple mediocre guys, but they don't have an AJ Brown or a CeeDee Lamb or a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. They don't have any big 1 or 2 wide receivers like that. Like, they're living off Pat Mahomes, and they retooled the offensive line, and they're going to work these tight ends. So I think they understand there's a window. Mm-hmm. Again, like we just talked about with Buffalo and Kansas City, is like, okay, that window's open for 2 or 3 more years. Now the door is always going to be open as long as you got Pat Mahomes, just like when Rodgers was with the Packers. The door's always open, but the reality of the window is much smaller than that, because I don't care how great of a quarterback you are, you need a team,
mm-hmm.
which means defense, special teams. People aren't like Philly. Yeah, I think Philly's going to roll because the NFC sucks. But you lost your offensive and defensive coordinator. All these people that think Philly's just going to walk to the Super Bowl, you lost your offensive and defensive coordinator. Like, that's just a reality. Like, let's be honest. Well, the same guys were there. They're stepping up. Yeah, that happens all the time, and teams still take a step back,
mm-hmm.
right? Well, you still got the Super Bowl hangover thing. Like, again, the only thing that helps the Eagles is the NFC sucks.
Yeah.
Right? So again, I just think there's a lot of changes. So I think Mahomes, he's very much a historian. Like, you're watching the show with him. He understands time. He understands reading the room, reading the situation. And I think both him, Andy Reid, Kelsey, the whole team understands, okay, we got 2 or 3 years. We can get at least 1, if not 2 more. Yeah. We got to stay focused in.
Just a really well-run organization, too, and I hate to say it, but I mean...
Veach is the best GM in football right now.
Just really got it figured out. They know their pieces. They keep their people happy for the most part. Is that thing solved with Chris Jones yet?
No, but it will be. I was hearing today. I mean, it's going to get done.
Yeah, so
and he's going to be paid handsomely. But they got all those rookies in the secondary. You get Pacheco in the 7th. Like, they manage money very well. And look, it takes... Your star has to be willing to give.
Mm-hmm.
Brady gave back. Tim Duncan gave back. Joe Burrow, I expect him to take a very friendly deal like Pat Mahomes. Right? Now, Jalen Hurts got his money, and he deserves his money. But that's going to change that organization in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So if Philly doesn't win it in the next 2 years, Jalen Hurts ain't winning a Super Bowl, folks. I hate to tell y'all. Like, it just, there's a lot. Just because you have the quarterback doesn't mean, if that was the case, Brady or Aaron Rodgers would win every year. Like, it takes pieces. And Brett Veach of the Chiefs, I think he's the best GM in football. He does a really good job at making the cap work. John Lynch is another one. Obviously, what Pittsburgh does, Pittsburgh just retools between them and Tomlin. And when you can do that as an organization, and Phillies did a really great job through the draft. I mean, they've figured it out. Just keep drafting Georgia and Alabama guys on defense, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Any SEC guys, really. Well, yeah, good stuff. I like the list. It's a good list.
Chop would Chop agree? I mean, I don't really.
Of course he would. I mean, he might disagree with some of these middle guys. I don't know, but he wasn't here, so he doesn't have a voice.
I fought very hard. I was tempted to put Daniel Jones and Sam Howell on the list, and your boy Anthony Richardson, but I decided no.
Where's
in
Tannehill?
All seriousness,
Where's Tannehill?
I would say Tannehill's 17th-ish, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Actually, right outside of 10, number 11 and number 12, believe it or not, would be I'd put Tua at 11. I think a healthy Tua is a dangerous Tua, right? Tua is a guy that could jump from 11 to 6 or 7 real easy if he can stay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I think Derek Carr has to be up there, 12th-ish, 13th. And then the next guy, flipping with Carr, 12th or 13th, I know you're going to laugh at me. Bryce Young's got all the goods, boys. Bryce Young's got all the goods at the dance.
I can't wait to see how this goes.
I'm telling you.
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm telling you.
Don't think so.
Listen, to be able to gamble on football and make a living out of it, you got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, true.
Okay? The guy's got the goods.
Yeah.
Now, could he go out there and get squashed like a bug and his career over? Yeah, that could happen. I need to see if he can take the pounding. But as far as the brain and the physical ability, he's like Doug Flutie. I'm telling you. And Flutie, look, you say what you want to. Guy goes and wins a bunch of Canadian Bowls and would have been really good in the NFL, but people talked about his size just like they tried to run Drew Brees out of the league, and look what Drew Brees did.
True.
And Bryce Young can move around a whole hell of a lot better than Drew Brees.
Bryce Young's going into a good situation with a good coach. And
got Frank Reich. Got an organization with a new owner, right? They're going to spend money. That defense was really good. Like, he's going into a good, and he's in a terrible division.
Yeah.
I mean, you could win 7 games and maybe win that division this year. So I think, I like it. I think he's got a shot. A lot.
Well, man, look at that. An hour and a half goes by. I thought we were going to get...
It's been fun.
I thought there was going to be a quick show, and then all of a sudden, we start talking about NFL, and things just elongate.
Look, you get guys together talking about NFL. Next thing you know, it's Sunday.
Well, hopefully everyone listening enjoys it as much as we like talking about it. So, man, let's finish it off. You got anything from John's betting corner? Since we haven't been doing dailies, I figured maybe you had some nuggets you want to drop on us.
Yeah, 27 games over, starting to get our legs under some baseball. Going to be a great back half. Look, I can't stress enough, John at bccsports.com. Email me. Let's talk about your situation. Look, again, I'm not trying to sales pitch anybody. Everybody else tries to do that, this, that, and the other. I'll let the record speak for itself, but the reality is there's nobody better. Ain't going to happen. I don't know how well I'll do in these contests because it takes a lot of luck. But if you're talking about week in, week out, I was talking to AJ before we got on the show. I just finished the ACC breakdown, and just Florida State alone was like 3.5 hours. You say, I got to know every player. I got to know what's happened against each team on their schedule the past 10 years. I got to know against the spread. I break all of it down, and I'm really, really successful. Just like Super Bowl, we were 6-0, AJ? 6-0? Super Bowl day?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. With it.
All right.
Yeah.
So nobody studies it more. Nobody lives it more. Nobody understands it more. It doesn't mean we're going to win every week. That's not, if you're looking for somebody to win every week or win every bet, that's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Don't even email me. If you want to actually make money and turn a profit for paying very little money for what you get in return, email me, Jon at bccsports.com. I'd love to help you. I'd love to have the opportunity to help you. But again, I'll be straight up and honest. I don't need fly-by-nights. Okay. You're either in it with me for the whole season, because again, nothing is easy in this life, and it's definitely not easy in sports gambling, right? You can make money, but you got to have some thick skin. So I want people for season. I don't need you for a week. It's more of a hindrance and a bother. I want people that are serious. I don't want somebody, I'm going to follow this guy this week, this guy next week, this guy this week. Oh, this guy says he's picking a day, so I'm going to take him. And next thing you know, you've done listen to so many people, you lost more money. You lost money. Nobody should lose money and not turn a profit in football. If you can't turn a major profit in football season, you need to just not bet.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, again, I'm here for you if you need me. If not, best of luck to you. I hope everybody wins your bets.
You heard it here. Jon at BCCS Sports, if you want to get in touch with him on anything, questions around the packages or, thoughts on gambling or whatever, Jon's super available. Of course, you can go over to bccsports.com if you want to check out some of our packages we have going on. We're going to redo the website here pretty soon, so it might be under construction by the time you hear this, but feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions, and we appreciate everyone listening on the podcast. Thanks for subscribing. Head on over to the YouTube and check us out there too. Give us a subscribe and a like if you don't mind. And for all of you watching on the YouTube, thank you so much. And you can check us out on any of your podcast feeds, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever you like. So with that, we're going to end the show. And hopefully, again, Josh, hopefully you're back soon, buddy. Quick recovery. And in the meantime, we'll be just kind of hanging out. So thank you guys for listening. We'll be in touch soon.
Love you, my winners.
All right.